All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The hashtag is Daybreak. You can call in 0719 777 at Citizen TV Kenya, Trevor Mbija, Twaiga Mwaura. Those are the Twitter handles you can use, and we're still talking about cyberbullying and how you should handle it when it's online. We were still discussing it even during the break, but let's bring you into it now. Should you call them out? Should you have a clap back or not, Mark?
I think you should be measured about it, because sometimes people are basically, they've planned it out like chess, several steps, and all they need to do is just lure you with the first one. So I mean, that's where people are very calculating, and they want to get you on a bad day. They want to get you in the evening. They want to get you in the morning when you're tired. So I think you have to decide whether it's worth standing that way. But I think, as Kambua said, a big part of it is who's in your inner circle and how are they helping you keep your mind on what you should be keeping your mind on. Some people have a social media community manager to just kind of just go in. Of course, it's like hard labor, but quote unquote, to get all the negative stuff out of there. So in there could be some criticism, but bottom line, I'd say be measured with it. Because sometimes it's there's a bigger picture there, or you're now legitimizing that person and showing that the negative thing they did was good enough to get a response, and look at everyone else, the positive stuff. They never get a response.
So if a clapback is not necessary, then does legislation matter? Because in 2018, President Uhuru signed into law the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Bill that would essentially have 10 years in prison or 20 million for cyber stalking, then a further 5 million for spreading fake news. Parts of it was repealed, though. Legislation, would that work?
Well, I think there were some challenges with that specific.
Most of it was repealed.
Correct, and I think rightly so, because if you, I mean, just the 2010 Constitution and this and how constitutional it is, I think we should take some comfort in the fact that global platforms like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram are holding under the microscope people who break their rules. So we have several.
At least they're doing so now.
Correct. They do so now. So in the last 1 year, we've seen several high-profile either bloggers or people who will share, graphic or explicit or vulgar information and visuals and so on, get their accounts, even verified accounts, withdrawn. Some on what's called a permanent suspension. So because of that, this idea of reporting an account, if it's violating the Twitter rules or Facebook's rules around content, that can actually lead to genuine, permanent, in some cases, consequences.
So maybe that's how you can clap back.
But in a way, it is a lot of work to put that on someone.
100. Pierre, can you respond? Can you report every account that mentioned you?
No, you can't. But you can respond to some things, like if it's really necessary, just clap back.
So when is it? Okay, when is it really necessary?
Clap back.
When is it?
She's not letting anyone go.
When it's necessary, like for example, I might just trend for this one, but I'm gonna say it.
I'm worried.
I really don't care. But you see, like for example, when I gave birth, right? I moved from 49 kgs to 94. I was 94 kgs. I mean, I knew I'd gained weight. It's not like I didn't know. But getting cyberbullied because of it, I was just like, but hey, I'm back. And sometimes I don't clap back myself. There are people who've been doing it. They're like, so people who bullied her when she was there, how are you feeling now? So it's okay to clap back once in a while. It's social media.
Look, you who said this, look at me now.
We are slay queens. I'm actually, I'm just reading at you. I'm just like, anyway, you know what? It's a Friday. Just relax. Tweets though. Cyberbullying.
When to respond, how to respond, should you even respond?
Nowadays, I choose not to.
Nowadays, you choose not to?
I choose not to.
There was a time you used to?
At times.
And then what changed?
At times. Then, niko na nakupatia airtime, nakupatia platform ya kujibamba, nakupatia platform ya kuongea matope. You know?
I'm glad you made that about I was worried there for a moment. What?
So, generally what I do, if it's my page, it's my page, So if you're going to bring your negativity on my page,
block
I'll delete and block.
That's true.
And that's how life goes on. As in, utaongea mbaya, at the end of the day, utabaki hapo hivyo unaumwa na chenye mimi nimefanya, nimesema, but mimi nitakublock, nitadelete comment yako na nitaendelea na maisha. As in, if you're waiting for me to respond, unless tupatane face to face, then basi hapo tunajibishana.
Okay, so
Kambua, what do you think?
I think there's a place for it. There's a place to respond and there's a place not to respond. Just like when he was saying that there's some people who have completely And you can usually tell the difference. You know, there are those people who have created a career out of being a troll, and you know that the minute they hit you on something, they're waiting for you to respond, to now bring like a whole, you know, just everything. You know, they'll dig you up from when in primary school you failed your math exam to, you know, they'll just dig up a whole lot of things. Yeah. And then there's other people who are honestly, some do it out of ignorance. And why I'm saying there's a place to speak out for it is because, especially with the issue that I've talked about, I've had to speak it out, and there are people who've said, I didn't know that it was wrong for me to ask another woman to ask another person why they don't have children. Yeah. So there's a place to educate people.
Or why they're not married.
Or why they're not married.
So many whys.
Yeah, you know, why they're not, you know, all these whys that we are at different places. So it gives you a chance also to educate people on certain things. But I also take my social media as, I look at it like, you know, my home that I guard, it's my space, it's my sacred space. I don't just allow anybody into my house, you know. I will decide who comes into my house and who doesn't come into my house. I'll decide who comes for tea. I will decide who will drop me at the gate. I will decide who will drop me inside. You know what I mean? So the same way on my social media, I embrace the block button, as Shix is saying. When I need to, I will embrace it. I do not even flinch when I need to. Or I will delete your comment because I know it's just a one-off or whatever, and you probably just, it was just inappropriate in the moment. Or I will talk to you, or I will ignore it. So I think it's just knowing, it's part of social intelligence of knowing what I need to do at what point. And sometimes you might not know and need to ask somebody. There's times when I've asked, what do you think I should do about this? And then someone looking at it from the outside will be like, no, it's really not a big deal. Or
they give some interesting perspective.
Exactly, they give you perspective, because sometimes we're too invested being in the situation.
To be able to respond appropriately. We have a caller, Joshua from Muranga. Good morning. What's your question or comment, Joshua?
Morning, Maura and Trevor.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, allow me to weigh in on the cyberbullying debate.
Go ahead.
Now, number one, anybody who has a phone has either been bullied or is a bully themselves.
Okay.
Number two, allow me to throw out to our celebrities.
Yes.
I think what I've discovered is that at times you attract what you are. I've realized that the people that we call celebrities have failed to capitalize on the opportunity they have to give people reasons and ideas on what they should respond to them. I've seen our celebrities, quote unquote, post some very trivial and petty issues, and at times really, when you fail to take a very honorable position on issues and choose the petty ways, then you are unlikely to attract the pettiness from people.
Joshua, sorry, allow me to interrupt you. How would you define what is petty or trivial? Do you have any examples?
Maybe I will answer you by throwing it back to you. When you post about breastfeeding, I've lost weight and all this, most likely, let me give a good example. I have someone from Citizen who I admire very much. This is Yvonne Okwara. She's time and often taken very strong positions on issues of national interest, and I've seen a lot of admiration and support from people. But when you post such issues about, I hosted an all-white party during the weekend, and I mean, people will definitely hit you right, left, and center. But more importantly, Maura, as I conclude, I think every phone and every computer has a delete option. When you see this crap and that is coming from people, why don't you just delete? After all, in Kenya today, you must develop some serious thick skin. In a country where we are waking up to negative news every day on corruption, unemployment, matters and all this, you must really develop some thick skin and learn to live with it.
All right, Joshua. All right, Joshua, thanks. That's Joshua from Muranga. And Mark, it's bringing up a very interesting perspective there. He thinks that one person talks about issues of national interest, the other person talks about personal issues. Who are we to decide what makes you happy? If I want to talk about hosting a party, isn't that supposed to be my choice? If I want to talk about the national politics, that's supposed to be my choice. Correct. I don't get judged by the people on what I want to post. It's my media page.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. And I mean, even for, I'm a parent, you're a parent as well. Just even the idea of what's called a digital shadow. Yeah. Sometimes you're creating an identity and sometimes even an expectation for a person growing up who's not yet even sometimes like consented into it. So like you're saying, there's so many like philosophical questions right now about connectivity and consent, where I don't consent when you talk about, you know, like going to a rugby game on the weekend, and I don't consent when you talk about the all-white party. So it's this mix of where the audience is the former audience, because they're less of a passive number of people behind a TV screen and being broadcast to,
yes.
and there are people who are there because their likes allow you to get, in some ways, the affirmation, but their comments can then swing it one way or the other, or they can withdraw their likes. And sometimes even for young people like teens, they'll kind of, or even, let's not even get into relationships and ghosting and so on, but there's entire ways where either attention is provided or withdrawn. The challenge of here is, it's like you can't put people in a box, right? People are entirely human and can choose what level of access to provide you, to kids, to family, to personal things, to makeup, no makeup, you know, for example, like it's a whole mix, but it's the audience definitely tries to police it, because that's a way of them showing, look, I'm not just a passive audience member. My constant comments, you could actually go one way or the other from it, whether it's negative or positive. So that's the challenge of how much, like you said, how much power you wield to that, because you are playing to an audience in a way. Because that's part of celebrity lifestyle or lifestyle content, but as you're saying, it's a philosophical thing where it's hard to say this because I'll be unpopular for it, but you're both right. You're right if you do, you're right if you don't, they're right if they appreciate it, they're right if they don't, because they're the audience, you're the creator, so it's one platform.
And Pierre, this was one thing that Kambu also brought up, that there are people she allows to drop at the gate, there are people she allows to drop her inside, beyond the gate. So is there a point where celebrities also rub people off the wrong way? Because that's also another question that has come up several times.
Well, definitely, yes. I mean, I've discussed this on TV before. Like, for example, if I share my relationship status, if I'm always talking about bae this, bae that, white party, you know, that means I have relatives on social media. We call them
online in-laws.
Yeah, online in-laws.
Invested in your relationship.
You know,
So if you break up, we want to know why.
Exactly.
We were not consulted before you broke up.
Right. So like that one, I should not complain much when people have a say in what I'm telling them. Like, for example, but don't come and attack me on my own personal thing that I haven't even shared with you, or I'm not feeling like sharing. You go, you dig dirt on me, and then you come and use it against me. But if I've come and talked about something very specific, probably I've said, guys, meet my new bae, you know?
And then
if
bae's
people,
no more. And then bae's no more. Right?
What happened?
And then, you know, when people now react over that, I'm at the next day, tomorrow morning, I'm like, you know, I start posting quotes of breakup and stuff, and guys are like, hey, you know what's going on? Have you guys broken up? You know, and then I'm like, why are you guys into a relationship? That's being unfair to the in-laws, you know? If I feed them something, let me allow them to participate. But now, as for me, I know where it cuts. Like, I know what I can share on social media, what I can't share on social media. People keep asking me, why haven't you started a page for your baby? You know, I'm just like, I have my reasons.
People are actually encouraging you to do that.
Yeah, like every day.
People you know, people you don't know.
Both. Imagine both. Even some clients do ask me, why haven't you started a page for the baby?
They want to play a role in you bringing up your baby.
I'm just like, guys, thank you so much. I love my baby. But I feel like, you know, there's that privacy. I don't need to expose my baby so much on that. But if I put out something sometime, if I throw a white party, you come and say, oh, you guys, you're a white party. And I'm like, you know, we had a ball, whatever, anything else. But I've already put it out there, I think, for people to comment on it sometime. But if you have to comment about it, you don't have to be very, very negative, such that you're trying to put me down or trying just to kill my career because, you know, you feel like, why did she have a white party and I didn't, you know? That's the only...
Shiks, how do you do it yourself? How do you decide how much to bring in your fans and at what point to stop? Who consider nini? Because kuna zile hype pia ukua. Unajua umeenda mahali Santorini hivi kidogo. Unajua kuna national issues like pia kidogo to travel.
You are part of that, by the way. Anywho, inalingana. Saa zingine, I choose not to put my private life on social media. That's it for me. If it's work, nitaiweka. Kama niko studio, nitakuwekea nikiwa studio nikibanjuke yangu yote. Kama niko mahali nimeenda niko live, hiyo yenye mnashinda mkiniuliza.
Shiks haendangi live.
Nimeenda live. I'll put, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll post it, maybe I won't. As in, it just depends with what I'm doing and what I think is right for me to put or to upload. If I think I don't want to upload this photo or I don't want to show people where I'm at, then I won't. Because I just think it depends with me. At the end of the day, it's me, it's my life. So, but I also think si poa pia kuanika mambo zako zote on social media.
Yeah.
Because guys will come back and they'll use that against you. Yeah. So ni poa saa zingine pia personal life, differentiate between personal life and social life. Jua ni wapi utafika mwisho, unajua zin yeke kando, personal life yeke tu kando kiasi. Then social life
Jibambe.
tujiachilie mse.
Kambua, 2 quick questions for you. First of all, have you ever thought of deleting your accounts? And secondly, let's talk a little bit about the reality that social media creates. Okay, can I call it a false reality? Everybody's successful.
Yeah.
Everyone's beautiful. Everybody's handsome. Everybody's rich. Everybody's doing something. Talk to me about those 2 issues.
Happy on
Everybody's
social
happy.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy and blessed.
Many years ago, I deleted my Facebook account. It wasn't even social, whatever, cyberbullying. It was, I just felt very overwhelmed. I'm basically a super introvert. I like quiet. I like, you know.
And you host a TV show.
And I host a TV show. So it felt like it was too much. I felt surrounded. So I just shut down my Facebook page. And then, you know, when I got back, I was like, okay, this is not the way to do it. I can actually just get off for a day or two, for a week or so, and still get the same breather and come back. Because I also realized that I'm building a brand, and it's important for the consistency to be there. Not that today Kambua is feeling sad, so let me deactivate my account, and then tomorrow I'm feeling happy, so I'm back on social media. So I've learned not to do things based on how I'm feeling at the moment. I can just take time to breathe and then come back and look at it, and we're okay and continue. I feel that social media has become the space where we can all just project the image of perfection that we all desire to have, you know, the perfect life, the perfect relationship, the perfect career, just, you know, happy because, you know, our photos are filtered. When we are eating at fancy restaurants, that's what we'll post.
You take 50 pictures and then just there's that one, the perfect one.
That's
the one that you...
And by the way, we do take 50
you know? When men are waiting to eat.
Sometimes my husband's like, can we eat now? Or, you know, I'll post my relationship when we're having a happy day, you know, and maybe it's like one out of so many bad days. So the illusion that we're creating out there is that everything is perfect in Kambua's world. And then there'll be that teenager that he keeps talking about who's looking at me and, you know, wants to be like Kambua and imagines that's the ideal life, is that you always have to be happy. You always have to, you'll always look good. You will always, and that's not the truth. But at the same time, you need to realize that because it's social media, I'm also not going to come up there and post the day that I'm just having a really bad day, you know, that my makeup is looking crazy and whatever. Again, because I'm building a brand. So being aware that there's a lot of convenient truths on social media that people are doing to sell themselves, to build themselves. So taking it for what it is, but not taking it as the full picture of what people are going through.
What's
and
the
then
worst thing that would happen if you posted on one of those other days? What do you think would happen?
You know, I have posted.
Makeup, I'm not having a good day.
Well, I'm not sure that you guys will see me without makeup. I'm kidding. But I have posted on days when I don't feel myself. I have posted on issues. There's times I have, for instance, I remember when I lost my dad and I was going through, it was almost like a depression. It just felt like a really dark phase in my life. I remember talking about it because I realized my vulnerability is going to build somebody, might speak to somebody. And initially I was doing it just because I needed an outlet, I needed to heal. But then you find that that place of your pain is also bringing a lot of healing to other people because you're not the only person who's gone through grief. You're not the only person who's walked that journey. So allowing yourself a good balance of, I'm not just going to be telling you people my life is perfect. Once in a while I will let you know that this is not a good season for me. And there are people who disagree with that. I remember one time someone telling me, Kambua, don't let people know that you have bad days. And I told that person, I want to be as authentic as I can be with my audience for them to understand that not every day is going to be a smooth sailing one.
Wasn't it interesting though that at a point of vulnerability you got a lot of support?
Yes.
From the same people sometimes bully you on the good days. On the bad days, they actually come and support you.
Which is why it's so fickle, Trevor. The way I look at our friends and on social media, it's such a it's such
roller coaster.
It's such a roller coaster. It's the same
love
people.
and hate in equal measure.
Same people who are praising you will be the same people casting you down, the same people encouraging you. So I've learned that it's not the place where I go looking for
validation.
Validation, thank you. It's not the place that I go looking for that. It's an audience. I take myself as, for instance, Kambua is a media house on her own. Piera is, Shix is. And to the audience I say, and I just wanted to address something that Joshua, our dear caller, said. It's like having a TV channel. I choose, I don't care for the food channel. I flip past it. I end up on the fashion channel or whatever. Things that interest me. If Piera talking about breastfeeding doesn't interest me, I'll flip to Shakes who's talking about reggae and rapture, or Santorini. So instead of making Piera look like hers is less important, because she is actually speaking to a very big audience that is struggling with
what you want.
Exactly. So pick what you want. You don't need to tear someone down to decide that this is more important than the other one.
Powerful.
All right. We've incredibly run out of time at this point. So by unanimous decision, I'm not going to call out the person I was meant to call out, because it's been agreed by the panel here that it's not worth it, but you know what you said. Anyway, let's read some of your tweets here and SMSs 22422. Bring them up, please, on the screen so that we go through them really fast. John T. March says bullies will have their opinions about you, of which they are somehow entitled to. How you deal and respond to it, that is what matters the most.
That's true.
All right.
Entitled to, I guess, under freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Inguero Brian. Having haters means you have more followers. In social media, people need followers, so don't ignore them. Maybe get a manager or some PA to take care of the troll. So spend money to take care of the troll.
I don't
It
think
makes
so.
sense sometimes, actually.
And we have another one here. Says cyberbullying has no particular solution, given the internet is a jungle with no rules. Sometimes calling them out may be effective, sometimes ignore, sometimes be friendly. It is a test of you as a brand on how you manage it. All right.
All right, and we have one SMS. That should be up on the screen now. Frida from Langata. Trevor, I'm loving the yellow tie. Cyber love.
All right, that's cyber love now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Frida.
Let's take a moment for Trevor. Okay, there's the moment. As much as cyberbullying is concerned, I really don't care, because people can only have power over you as much as you allow them. So I really don't allow it to get to me. I am like, I know me, so whatever you feel or say is up to you. I don't care.
Wow.
Perfect.
I don't care. One word of advice. I know we're out of time, from each of you to people who are watching, just quickly.
One line.
It's never that serious.
Never that serious?
Never that serious, Piera.
You know what? Social media is a frozen moment. Don't
Frozen.
live for it. It's a frozen moment. I take a picture, that's it. You don't know I was crying,
Just
a
a few
minute ago.
seconds
It's a
before
frozen moment. Don't believe it so much.
Mark?
I'd say find your authentic voice and be comfortable with creating content that's not as great in the beginning, because everyone you see here has put in time and forgiven themselves for the very early stops and starts at the beginning. So don't hold yourself to an unrealistic standard when you start. Your beginning shouldn't be compared to someone's middle.
Okay.
I would say know yourself, love yourself. Don't look for validation on social media, especially to young people. Know and love yourself.
Trevor, that's all I wanted.
Brilliant.
Go ahead.
Asante sana. That's where we leave it now. My name is Trevor Mbija. It's a pleasure having you with us. But Daybreak is not done. Don't be in a rush to leave. Kimani Bugo is up next with the web wars. He'll tell you what's been trending. People have been trolled, what they've said. Interesting, yeah. That coming up in just a bit. Guys, thank you so much.